Hello, my magical nieces and nephews. It's your Aunt Em. If you were just listening to the Love Oil and Jar Spells episode, this is right afterwards. The candles are um, right behind me. So if you see them flickering, that's what they're doing. Um, so, welcome to today's episode. I'm going to show you and tell you all about chakras. I sometimes say chakras because that's how you say it in Spanish. Um, and this is important. This is providing a foundation because our next episode is going to be about reading auras. So when you guys email me and ask me questions, I create episodes around it, around the topics. And I want you guys to feel like you can reach out to me at howtobecome-a-witch-podcast@gmail.com, which is howtobecome-a-witch-podcast@gmail.com. You guys have really been emailing me lately and telling me what's going on. And, your questions are fabulous. That is why I'm here. Before I was diagnosed with fibroids, and then when I was recovering from the surgery to remove them, I spent a lot of time on TikTok because I was like, well, maybe I'll learn something because I'm not the end all and be all of witchcraft. Like, I have my roots. My dad is from Cuba, my mom was from Ireland, and I spent about 10 years in the South. So it's Santeria, nature magic, and hoodoo in New Orleans and some voodoo down here. It's a little different, not too much, but it's a little different. So I've kind of really, seen it all, and I thought, well, maybe I'll learn something new. And I was like horrified. I was like, you can't do that. The placements are wrong. You're gonna open yourself to bad spirits. And it was like people who were like, oh yeah, the egregores that I have, on command. And it's like, you don't command shit in magic. You can request humbly. But as far as saying that you command, not as a human. Even if you were born into it, you don't command shit in witchcraft. You request. The end goal of witchcraft is not manifestation, it's community. And you do that through not being a fucking asshole and being consistent and, the greater good and all that. I mean, sometimes you do have to kick some ass. I mean, I've been known to tell people to fuck off pretty regularly. But, the things that I was seeing on TikTok were scaring me. And a lot of it was rage bait, and it was, just saying something scandalous to get likes and views. And it's like, okay. So when I was laying in my bed, I would just yap. I would just yap and talk about witchcraft. And I was like, this will find the right audience. And then in the beginning of January, right before my birthday, I woke up one morning and it was like 500 new followers. And it was like, what? And someone had mentioned me on social media. And I was like, cool, 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 cool. And a lot of what I hear is, oh, thank you for correcting this. Oh, I didn't know what that was. Thank you for, you know, thank you for helping me figure out what's misinformation and what's actually bad advice. You have to remember that for a lot of people, they're maybe not particularly smart or talented or pretty, no matter what age they are, or handsome. And the idea that some unknown force has chosen them to be special, even though there's no proof of that, is very intoxicating. So, and I've been thinking about this a lot lately when I've been going to the park because I had a friend in 8th grade. She got really into Wicca because everyone got into Wicca in the late 90s because it was Scott Cunningham and it was Raven something. She did Teen Wolf. So everyone got into Wicca. And Wicca was actually a plant. So what that means is it's a very bastardized religion. So I can see elements of my background, the Irish, the Cuban, the Southern, and it takes all of them and turns it on its head, and it gives you a lot of rules, and it's like, oh, you can judge other people. I mean, not really, unless they're doing something particularly egregious, like, I'm not going to even say, but Wicca created this atmosphere of um, taking from Hindu and all these things. And, you just by presence alone, just by believing, were extra special. And, I, you can tell me that you're psychic and I'll be like, oh yeah, make a prediction, like a fucking asshole. Oh, you're psychic? What's your prediction? Oh, what's this, that, and the other? How do you do your divination? Can I get a reading? Do you do pendulums? Do you do this, that, and the other? And do you do it for free? So my tarot card readings are free. I am this is going to be an ongoing thing, but I'm going to hold tarot workshops, and I'll put the link in the description. And I show you guys how to do it for a small fee, just to kind of make sure there's no weirdos there. But if time permits, I will pull the cards for everyone, because that is what I consider part of my community service. I am lucky enough to be pretty good at tarot because I've been reading it since I was 14. And I feel like if I'm good at something and I can, not everyone can, I'm going to do some stuff for free. So I always think if someone isn't, in a good space or something's wrong, maybe they just need a small reading to kind of get them in the right space. And this girl would walk around with this like I don't know if you guys remember in like the early 90s, like the medallions that the rappers would wear, like Flavor Flav with a clock. She was wearing this giant crystal, and every once in a while she'd go like this, and I'm special. And it very much was negative and very, unbecoming, to be a little snooty. Because what was she putting out into the community? Oh, you're psychic? Make a prediction. How do you divine? Like, blah, blah, blah. Nothing. And so I feel like a lot of people on TikTok are the same. They want the presence and the aura of, being chosen by forces no one else can see but them. And, that's what makes them so good. And, you just have to trust them. And if something goes wrong, it's your fault. And so I was like, absolutely the fuck not on my time. So when I was creating these episodes, I was like, what would be really great for everyone to learn? And I was like, chakras and auras. And down here in Miami, there's a shop called Five Sisters, and I used to do their chakra workshops. So I have been studying the chakras since I was 16. I had a book by this author called Shakti Gawain, and I was really into visualization when I was 16. That's how I also got to see auras, but that's for the next episode. And it was pretty cool to work with the chakras. I love the chakras, and I'm going to show you the 7 chakras, because I do it usually with 8, but I don't think you guys are ready to do 8 yet. I think you should start with basic 7. And then let me write that down. Okay. So we're going to talk about the chakras, and then my coven members are actually going to get a guided visualization meditation with the chakras. So I'm super excited about that. Okay. So I'm going to be a little crass when describing the root chakra, but I mean, it's your taint. It's your taint. So imagine a um a tree root growing from your taint into the ground and being really charged up, like really, really charged up. Root chakra is when you don't feel safe, like your money is gone, your job's wonky, you have a bitch at work. I don't. I just want to put that out there. I'm using these from past examples. My current corporate job, nothing bad to say, nothing bad to report. That's why I actually don't do any work, but like work magics and doings, because I don't want anything to affect my job when it comes to that, because when you do perform spells for other people, you take in a little bit of that energy. And so that's why I won't, if someone's really not doing well with work, I say, well, I can give you a peace of mind spell, but I can't do it for you. Um, but red is very much when you're feeling like the whole world is shifting, the rug has been pulled out underneath you. And it's basically when you really, really need to ground. So I imagine the tree root and then a giant red circle, not like a hemorrhoid, but like a giant red circle. And if you wanted to do a chant, because I used to really like chanting, but then, it triggered something in me. Like there was one hurricane that I got really scared in, and I started doing my chakra chants, and like it helped get through it. But for months afterwards, my mind was playing that on a loop. And so I tend to have to be careful with, I memorize things very easily. Like when I had to take my ATD um, certification, I memorized all the practice tests because I'm very good at memorization. I went to Catholic school. So that's a story for another episode. But I'm really good at memorization, and I'm really good at repeating a lot. So I have to be very careful. Um, someone told me the other day, oh, that's very neuro, and I was like, it's not neurodivergent. I mean, it's all a spectrum. We all have little things. Like I like to listen to songs on repeat when I'm really stressed out. I haven't done it in a long time. I mean, every morning I listen to Gouge Away by Pixies. Um, but overall, I have to keep it in check. So if it's something that you can manage, I'm going to give you the mantra for each, like the sacred word for each one. And if you're a chanter, um, it'll help you out. So red, which is the root, and the word is lam. So you would just close your eyes and imagine a red circle, and the root's going down, and you would go lam. And then you would feel that in tune. Oh, I love that. So if you are stressed about finances, anything that's very materialistic or in the material world, use the root chakra. It's any type of red that you want. And at least three times say the sacred word from the chakra. And then so that's our taint. And then we move up to, so if you are, born a woman, so it's like that. So our ovaries right here, right, and like our reproductive organs like that. And the orange is right in the center. Okay, so that's like our sexuality, our pleasure, and sex is very creative. Hopefully, some handstands in there, and it's very, very creative. So if you're a writer, a painter, a singer, this is the chakra for you. Sorry, I'm gonna intersperse, like interchange between chakra and chakra, because it's chakra in Spanish, and it's I live in Miami. You have to switch sometimes. You speak Spanglish. So it's about our sexuality, it's about our creativity, it's about our, life force. It's raw, you know. And I like to imagine, so if the root chakra is a tree branch, I imagine that this is the juicy, oranges, and it's like, the juiciest orange you have ever eaten in your life. That's what I imagine. And sometimes when I'm overwriting or, I'm creating so much, I know that I have to kind of tone it down. And the sacred word is vam. So it's vam. So you get all of that, like creative and sexual juice and all that. And it's funny because, hopefully, not hopefully, but, sex causes, new life, and so does creativity. So it's all in there and it's just juicy and lovely. And then we move up to our navel, which is the solar plexus chakra, and that's where our sense of self is. So your gut, like butterflies in your tummy, ooh, my stomach dropped, or anything like that. That's our sense of self. So I like to imagine the roots, the orange, and then the sun, sense of self, helping everything grow. Like, oh, oh my God. Oh, love it. So helping everything grow. If you're constantly worried about things or overthinking, or, you feel like you're a little bit awkward, which, I mean, that's a human thing. So if anyone gives you hell, fuck them. Um, we have to have our sense of self. And, sometimes when we start a relationship, we realize how we don't necessarily have a sense of self in that relationship yet. But if it's a good one, you will get it. Or when you start a job or anything like that, like our sense of self helps everything grow. So really just imagine the sun and oof, I am feeling it. So the sacred word for the solar is Ram. And I'm only looking down because I left the notes here. I've been studying them since I was 16, but I want to make sure that I have all of it. So if you see me looking down here, that's what I'm doing. Ram, Ram, Ram. And really feel it. If no one else is around, the dog doesn't give a fuck what I'm doing. Just really, oh God, it's like opening me up. I need to start doing this more. So God, yes. Okay. So that's our belly button. That's our solar plexus. And then we're coming up to our heart, which is where, everything builds on each other. So we feel stable, we feel creative and life forward. With our sense of self, we can also love others. Healthy attachment, no matter what your style is. And like, you can imagine, like, oh God, just this openness. Like, when, like, oh my God, I just can't, like, just like I can't even describe it. Like, how, like, I love this chakra so much. It's about, you know, you can imagine it to be anything. I always imagine that this is like right above the sun. There's like that where it just kind of go right before it goes into the atmosphere. It's green for me. It could be different for you, but it's like this green horizon. Oh God. And it's like it opens you up. So if you're like having trouble meeting anyone in your city, or you can't let go of a past relationship, which is all human and fine. I mean, nobody's perfect. Just imagine it like a giant horizon spreading out, and that you are bringing back to you all the people that you can love, and love you back just the way that you are, and just kind of see it expanding into the universe, right? Because we're going beyond the sun. The sun was our solar plexus, and we're just moving outward, you know? Oh, it's so gorgeous. And I love it. And then the sacred word for your heart chakra. It's gonna sound funny because every time I hear it at Thanksgiving, I think of it. Yum. YAM. Yum. Yum. I am loving this, you guys. This is bringing me back to my time in Asia. So just imagine that. So that's how I imagine it's right above the sun, and it's just, it's just glorious. Okay. So we have done the heart, and then the throat chakra. So like this. So whereas our sexual organs are like this, that. Okay. So it's like the inverse. So when I was 16, I had a lot of, uh, sore throats, and I had my tonsils removed, and it was just one of those things. And so I know a lot of people apply spiritual meaning to that. I necessarily don't, because like I remember when my gallbladder, was acting up, because that's a very Irish thing, and especially in my family. And I remember people being like, oh, you just need this herb, or you need these essential oils. And it was like, get fucked. I went to the emergency room because it was painful. Um, So I had a lot of things with my throat when I was a teenager. That was coincidentally when I first found out about my father's multiple other families. And, we couldn't say anything because we would be bad Catholics if we expressed that we didn't want these children and these sacred children, and God loves all children. And it was like, it was a lot, and we couldn't talk about it. And, my mom was an addict, so she was my entire childhood, and then she died when I was 23 because she, overloaded her liver every day with Benadryl and all other sorts of not goodies. So I couldn't really express myself. And now here I am, a writer, and a podcaster and an instructional designer. So the throat chakra is very special to me because I would do a lot of humming and chanting. Um, and it helped, and I turned it into a strength. But don't think because you have an issue with one chakra that it's going to define your life. Sometimes really bad shit happens to us, and we just transmute it into something really good for ourselves and for others. So this is about communication, and it's this like gorgeous, gorgeous turquoise. Like I just imagine it, like the sky, and I know it doesn't necessarily fit in with the chakra, with the color scheme. Like I'm trying to show you how to use it through nature, but that's how I think of it. So if you think of it differently, go ahead. Magic is all about making it work for you. And I just imagine like it's the most beautiful blue sky, like we've been having here lately in Miami, just beautiful blue sky. And, everyone sees me. I am seen. I am recognized. I am felt and heard. And the sacred word for the throat chakra is hum, which is funny because I had a pet pig and her name was Doris Jones, RIP. I never, and I still don't eat any pig products that I know of. I one time accidentally ate something that was a pizza with pig belly, I think it's called. And I was horrified. My ex had to tell me. Um, but God, I am loving this humming. And that is what I've been doing since I was 16. So more than 30 years ago. I just had a birthday. So, yeah, this is like 30 years. Wow. Time flies even when you're not having fun. So that is the throat. So that's like a turquoise, a beautiful blue sky, and the sacred word is hum. And then here is the third eye that everyone talks about. I actually, I don't know if you can still see it. I had to get it removed. When I was 16 and I was at boarding school, I would tap my third eye to like wake it up and let me know because, like I've talked about in other episodes, I'm a 3/5 splenic projector in human design. So my intuition is actually here in my spleen. And I just was like, why am I not getting visions and this, that, and the other? But I would get feelings. So if, your intuition all works in different ways. But this is the third eye. So you can tap, and some people will tap 21 times or 18 times or just 3 times. So to get a vision, but I don't get visions. I get feelings and I get nudges. So that's one way to wake up your third chakra, your pineal gland. And it's a gorgeous, gorgeous indigo. The color of jeans, this is your psychic visions, what's going on with you, what's going on with others. And I always, used to ask, what do I need to know in this moment? And my spleen is usually very quiet. It's not background noise. It's something that's very, very quiet. So you can tap into it. And the sacred word, no surprisingly, is um. Oh my God, this is bringing me back to my time and age. I love it. Um, so when you really want to get into spirituality and your intuition and everything like that, this is the chakra. So some people, like when they visualize getting psychic hits, they imagine like a very open eye here, which is why I love the evil eye. Um, but if your intuition isn't visual, that's okay. Mine is again a feeling and it's very strong, but it's not always running in the background. So if you think, oh, I'm going to make a prediction or something like that, you know, it may not always be a visualization, but don't go around like my friend did in 8th grade and tell everyone you're psychic and then not make any predictions. So if your intuition is such that you can easily make predictions, then, be vocal about it, but otherwise keep it to yourself. I very rarely get hits. So I don't go around telling people I'm psychic because I'm not. I'm a 3/5 splenic projector. So that's up to you. And then violet. Oh, so I imagine that this is the indigo is like when we're first getting into the atmosphere. It's like we do go to, the atmosphere here and here, but that to me is on purpose because when you love someone, it's very feelings oriented. And that's what intuition is as well. So I know we did 2 drops of atmosphere. So if that's not pleasant for you, don't do it. That's how I love it. Oh, I love it. Okay. So then the final is like, I just imagine the end of the universe like this giant violet, circle. And so this is our crown. That's why in certain cultures they wear like hats like the yarmulke and everything like that. And just it's like when you're opening up to the gods and the universe and this like energy that's not yours, the things that you can't control, and that wild, wild, wonderful, beautiful, but very overpowering energy. You open it up. And that sound is actually silence. Oh my God, can you hear it now? Oh, this is like electric silence. I love it. You guys, I think I might start chanting again because I'm loving this. Oh my God. And it's so funny. I developed a stammer during the pandemic because I was so stressed. I worked for a guy who had killed a homeless man in the parking lot of the building, and it just, oh my God, it was so fucking stressful. And he hated me because I had figured out how they were scamming the government, and I did it quite by accident. Um, it's a story for another episode. But it's the silence, it's the crown, and just really sit in that silence. Oh my God, I can feel this electric silence now. Oh, you guys, I was gonna love it this much. I have not done this in forever, and this was like my whole personality at 16. But just kind of sit there. So what I used to do before we had iPhones, right? Back when the dinosaurs walked around, I would have a little timer and I would put 10 minutes on and I would sit in the silence. And I really loved it. And then afterwards, I would sit in the silence and then I would go through each of my chakras and I would close them by saying thank you. Because again, you don't command shit in magic. And if someone tells you they do, you can command a servitor, which is in another episode, but you can't, you request. And that's why community is important because, you know, if you are a good vibe, you're going to attract good vibes. And if you're going through a bad time and you can't be a good vibe, that's okay because your community should help you. But I would go through each of the chakras and I would say, thank you to my crown chakra. Thank you to my third eye. Thank you to my throat chakra. Thank you to my heart chakra. Thank you to my solar plexus chakra. Thank you to my creative chakra. Oh my God, I am loving this. And to my root chakra. And I would close all of them. And I would say thank you. Good God, you guys, this is really amazing. I forgot how much I loved this. And then I would take my hands and I would just go like this. And I would imagine closing everything down. And then I would take all the energy and I would sit with it. And I would usually fall asleep. God, this is bringing back so many memories of me being at boarding school. And I would just sit there and I would marinate. And, you know, what I used to do, and I had to unlearn it, is I would apply it to situations. Like I had a bitch teacher, or, you know, one of the girls that, you know, was really aggressive towards me before she came out. And I would apply how I felt to those energies. And it took me a long time to unlearn that. And once I did, I just started feeling so much better in myself. But again, when you're a teenage girl and your family's in shambles, because then there's multiple baby mamas, and it's just, and you know, I just kept on like sensing that they weren't going to pay for college, and they didn't, you know? So it was like this, it's hard being, you know, intuitive when you know bad things are going to happen. But that's part of my profile, is as a 3/5 splenic projector, I only know when the bad stuff is going to happen. So, let me see. God, I really love this episode. I think it might be my favorite episode so far. Wow. You guys, oh my God, I feel 16 again. I'm going to go, you know, wear flannel and smoke a cigarette behind the bleachers and go see Pearl Jam because I loved Stone Gossard. Like, so I start from the root and I go to crown. Some people go from the crown and go to root, however you want to do it. Some people like to journal as like the end of the day journaling, like, and they go through any issues or anything that pops up for each chakra, which is a good way of tapping into your body. So, you know, or a little dance or whatever, just however you want to do it. But you do need to open them and you do need to close them. And let's say that you have a really bad sore throat and you're like, oh, I'm gonna, you know, meditate on my throat chakra. No, you have to open all your chakras to work on even one of them. And you might be thinking, but why? Well, you wouldn't go, you know, out in public in just your underwear and some pasties. I mean, you would, more power to you. Some tassels, some like rose gold tassels would be fabulous. But you know, you have to work in a sense of balance. You know, even though I am very much a loner, I go to the park every day and I socialize with all the people there. You know, like I work remote, but I make sure I say good morning and good night to everyone. Like you have to have some sense of balance. And especially since I'm a Libra moon, I'm an Aquarius sun, Libra moon, Sag rising. I love that balance aspect. So however you want to do it, root to chakra, root to crown, or crown to root, but you do have to open, you have to close. You don't command shit, you ask nicely. Okay. And I'm going to say that again because someone said it the other day, like in real life, and they were like, oh, can you command? And I was like, command? I can ask, but command? I'm not accruing debt, and I'm not going to be one of those fucking out. Okay, I'm going to go off on a tangent, but let's see what else for the chakras. I think that's it, you guys. I'm actually really loving this, and I'm probably going to spend like some time before I go to sleep tonight going through all my chakras. I used to be a big visualization person before I went to bed, and it would help me sleep. And sometimes I wouldn't even get through all the chakras. So if you're using this as like a way to go to sleep, but you stop at like one chakra, it's fine. It's fine. You know, the energy itself will open up. And falling asleep is not bad in of itself. If you fall asleep because you're so relaxed or you feel protected, your energy will go through the other ones. But, you know, that's only if you fall asleep, because falling asleep, rest is sacred. So I really love this episode. You guys, I'm really emotional right now about it. I might text my bestie, but my ex is calling. I was texting me, not the one that I want. But this was really magical. Wow. So let me know how this goes for you. Send me any questions at howtobecomewitchpodcast@gmail.com. Once again, that's howtobecomewitchpodcast@gmail.com. Wow, I really love this. You guys, I think I might like have a moment to myself before I record the next episode. I'm batching today because I want to take advantage of the Friday the 13th and the Valentine's Day energy. But wow, this is really amazing. I hope you have a magical week. Email me if anything and leave a comment and let me know what you thought of the episode. I really loved it. All right, you guys, I will see you next week. Take care. Bye.